It's the most wonderful time of the year. The Tuesday and Wednesday night football commences. You got a Tuesday night football doubleheader, and OffshoreInsiders.com is going to preview it. Joe Duffy's picks continues to roll. What an incredible season. 101-66 in football, college, and pro. Since the preseason, you got a college football side and total for Tuesday night, Halloween. It's going to be spooky. We got the strongest side and total of the Major League Baseball postseason. You will see in the analysis we are not whistling Dixie. This is a huge side in total. We've got an NBA side as well. OffshoreInsiders.com from the Grandmaster, me, Joe Duffy, CEO of OffshoreInsiders.com. Bowling Green and Kent. Here's a preview. Look, folks, teams at least 6 games under 500 and either road favorites or a road dog of 1 or less, just 26-40 against the spread. That would favor the home underdog Kent. But such teams are actually 42-25 straight up. We do tell you in part because, again, one of the single dumbest things we hear repeated over and over and over is squares. And only squares will tell you, if you just pick the team that wins straight up, you're going to get the cover. So just pick the team that you think will win straight up. That is just beyond stupid for many, many reasons. But again, inductive versus deductive reasoning, we've explained it in detail many times. Now, that angle above is sub-angle when the opponent has a higher winning percentage, which is the case with home underdog Kent. Those road favorites or small underdogs is 11-19 against the spread for 36.7%. Now, Bowling Green is 1-7 against the spread, going over 3 straight after starting out the season 4-0-1 under. However, Bowling Green's minus 6.6 against the spread margin, only 27th worst in the country, despite being tied for the 3rd worst ATS winning percentage. Spread margin, also known as the sweat barometer. Kent is actually worse as far as the so-called sweat barometer or ATS margin is concerned, or margin of cover, minus 7.2 against the spread margin, despite 3-5 ATS. Bowling Green, pretty decent running the ball, getting 4.1 yards per carry to teams normally allowing 3.8. However, they're rancid on defense, allowing 5.6 yards per rush to teams that normally get an average of 4.1, 8.3 passing yards per attempt to 7.2, and 6.7 yards per play to 5.5. Their yards per play on defense is 9th worst in the nation, to put that in perspective. Kent terrible on offense, getting 4.1 yards per play to squads normally permitting 5.3. Kent allows 5.5 yards per rush to teams normally averaging 4.7, and 6.4 yards per play to 5.9. So again, they are not so good on defense, to say the least. Now, Bowling Green has won 4 straight in the series by a 161-49 margin. Look, basically, Kent's offense has never really recovered from losing star quarterback Nick Holly in September. Bowling Green's 3 conference losses, though, to teams by a combined 10-2 straight up mark. So that explains, basically, the odds makers are saying, Bowling Green's had a tougher schedule so far. Maybe that's why they are the worst record. They have the worst record, and that is why they are road favorite. Deja vu all over again. We do say 90% of the game's half mental. Last season, Bowling Green came in at 1-8 straight up before these teams met. They beat Kent and closed out with 3 straight wins. Now, overwhelming Vegas offshore and outlaw consensus plays on Bowling Green. But, we would consider that a contrarian plus. That angle above is somewhat counterintuitive. Admittedly, one of my golden rules is when a straight-up record would indicate that one team should be the favorite and the other team is, that you would normally go with what the odds makers are saying. But this is the exception to the rule. As you see, the system above says go with the home underdogs in these circumstances, and we will. Plus, we like it's a good contrarian play. Kent is your free pick from Joe Duffy's Picks. Now for Miami of Ohio and Ohio. Miami of Ohio, 2-6 against the spread, going under 5-7. Ohio, 6-2 to the number, going over 6-2. Ohio gets 5.6 yards per rush to teams normally allowing an average of 4.8. Ohio scored 48 points in consecutive games and at least 42 in 5 games this year. Home favorites off of consecutive wins in which 48 or more points were scored, just 5-14 the last 2 seasons. Overwhelming preseason consensus as the top 2 teams in the East, but that has not worked out quite that way. Miami has 4 losses by 8 points or less. Miami of Ohio starting quarterback Gus Ragland is questionable. He missed the last 2 games. 96 for 179, and he's got 1,398 yards, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. If no Ragland, Billy Ball gets a start. Ball does have 14 career starts, so he's not exactly a virgin, but this year completing just 50% of his passes, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Among the strongest consensus bets of the year on Ohio. Now, the public does love betting low-profile weeknight favorites, you know, those Tuesday night games, those Wednesday night games, even more than they do on Saturdays. So, yes, a very strong consensus bet, to say the least, on Ohio, but Tuesday night games and Wednesday night games, they do generally like betting the favorite even more than usual. All right, folks, a bunch of holidays just around the corner, whether it's Hanukkah or Christmas. Please consider DuffyGifts.com, DuffyGifts.com for all your holiday needs. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you like information like this, please literally like us. Please click like at the bottom of this video if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on Stitcher or iTunes, give us a positive review. Look, if you're subscribed to us on Twitter at Offshore Insider, note there's no S at the end. Please give us a retweet. Yes, you can embed this video in your website and, share it, whatever. If you're seeing it on Facebook, give us a like, etc. And subscribe to us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel right now, Offshore Insiders. Subscribe to us on YouTube, and we will have more winning selections right here on the YouTube channel and a simulcast on the various podcast sources.